We've all thought about what if at some point in our lives, but have we ever stopped to think about what would happen if a timeline was erased? What about the people who get left behind? Inside a small comic book store, Sam excitedly picks up a comic. He can't believe his luck. He has finally found this rare issue of Commander Canada. He stares at it in awe. His friend Mason is just as excited. They both love the comic, and even though Sam is the one who paid for it, they joke about sharing custody of it. As they chat, a group of boys walks up to them. The leader, Tommy, looks at them with a smirk and asks what they're up to. Before Sam can react, Tommy suddenly snatches the comic right out of his hands. Without a second thought, he rips it out of its protective cover. Mason gasps, "You can't do that! It's in mint condition!" Tommy just laughs. Then in one careless motion, he tosses the comic into a puddle and steps on it. "Now it's pavement," he says with a grin. Mason frowns. "That doesn't even make sense." The group of boys walks away, still laughing. Sam slowly picks up the wet, ruined comic, staring at it in disbelief. He doesn't say a word. Mason watches him, feeling bad. As they start walking home along the train tracks, Mason tries to cheer him up. "Look, I know how much that comic meant to you," he says softly, "and to your dad." Mason realizes that it has almost been a year now since, but before he can finish, Sam cuts him off. His expression darkens, and Mason immediately regrets bringing it up. "Sorry," Mason mumbles, and they continue walking in silence. When Sam gets home, his mother, Jenny, is waiting for him at the door. Her face is tight with worry. "Where have you been?" she asks, her voice sharp. "You're late for dinner." Sam barely looks at her as he steps inside. Jenny sighs, trying to stay calm. "Sam, I just want things to go back to normal," she says gently, but Sam tenses up. "Normal?" he snaps. "You're acting like Dad never even existed." Jenny looks hurt. "That's not true," she insists. "I miss him too, Sam, but I'm still here. We both have to move on. That's more important than some old comic book." Sam clenches his jaw. That wasn't just some comic book. It was Dad's favorite. Without another word, he stomps up to his room and slams the door. That night, the storm rages outside, thunder rumbling through the sky. In the treehouse, Sam sits cross-legged, flipping through his comic books by flashlight. Rain pelts the roof, creating a steady drip over his head. Suddenly, water starts to leak through a crack in the ceiling, landing directly on his precious stack of comics. "Enough with the wet comics already," he groans, shaking off the drops. Determined to stop the leak, Sam grabs a stool and climbs up to inspect the hole. The wind howls through the tree branches, making the whole structure creak. As Sam reaches out to grab one of his comics, his foot slips off the stool. Before he can catch himself, a blinding flash of lightning strikes the treehouse. The entire structure collapses around him. The next morning, Sam wakes up in a bedroom he doesn't recognize. His head feels heavy, and everything seems unfamiliar. As he looks around, his eyes land on a framed photo sitting on the nightstand. It's a picture of him, standing next to Tommy. Confused, he gets out of bed and searches the drawers, hoping to find his clothes, but nothing in there belongs to him. Still, he pulls out something to wear and heads out of the room. Walking down the hallway, he stops when he sees another picture on the wall. This time, it's a photo of him with two strangers, a man and a woman he doesn't recognize. Before he can figure out what's happening, the woman appears in the kitchen and smiles at him. "You're up," she says cheerfully. Sam blinks, his mind racing. "Okay, what on earth is going on right now?" She asks if he's feeling okay. Before he can answer, the man from the photo walks in. They tell him he might be feeling a little confused, explaining that he hit his head playing soccer and has a mild concussion. Still dazed, Sam insists, "But I was in my treehouse last night." The woman exchanges a glance with the man before suggesting they call the doctor again. But instead of agreeing, the man picks up a few pictures from the counter and hands them to Sam, hoping to help him remember. Sam tells the couple he's going to lie down, but as soon as he's alone, he climbs out the window and runs down the street. He heads straight for the house he remembers as home. When he knocks on the door, Jenny answers. Relieved, he steps inside, but something is wrong. She looks at him like he's a stranger. "I'm really sorry for being a jerk yesterday," Sam says quickly, "but you didn't have to prank me like this." Jenny frowns. "Do I know you?" Sam chuckles nervously. "Come on, Mom. This is our house, our stuff, our—" He stops mid-sentence. The tree house is gone. Before he can process it, a man walks in. Sam's breath catches. It's his dad, Andy. Without thinking, he rushes forward to hug him. But Andy and Jenny step back, confused. "We're not your parents," Andy says. They offer to help and reach for the phone, but Sam panics. He bolts out the door and into the street. As he looks around, his vision flickers. His body starts to glitch, and for a brief moment, he sees the street in ruins. Then, just as suddenly, everything snaps back to normal. Shaken, he runs up the street to Mason's house and knocks frantically. Mason answers the door and frowns. "What do you want?" Sam feels relieved that Mason recognizes him, but something feels off. Mason accuses Sam and Tommy of bullying him at school. Confused, Sam tries to explain what's happening. happening, but Mason doesn't want to hear it. He moves to close the door, but Sam blurts out, "I know about the mayonnaise incident." Mason freezes, shocked. Seeing his reaction, Sam quickly lists more personal details. Mason still sleeps with a stuffed cat named St. Jerome, gags at licorice, has a weird belly button, and when scared, well, lets one rip right on cue. Mason does exactly that. Now convinced, Mason lets Sam inside. Sam tells him he thinks the storm somehow sent him to another universe. Mason, fascinated, says that in comics, people usually wake up in new bodies to learn an important lesson. Sam then explains the glitching, worried that if it keeps happening, he might get stuck there forever. Mason warns Sam that if the glitching continues, he might get stuck in this world forever. He suggests that since the treehouse got him here, rebuilding it might be the key to getting back home. But there's a problem. This world has no treehouse. Determined to fix that, they decide to convince Sam's dad to build one. The two head to the wood yard to find Andy. On the way, Sam ignores a call from his new mom. When they finally spot Andy, Sam tries to explain everything, but Andy isn't interested and tells them to leave. Desperate, Sam starts listing personal details about his dad, things only his son would know. Andy hesitates, clearly shaken, but still insists that what Sam is saying is impossible. Sam tells him they need to rebuild the treehouse to send him back. His new mom calls again, but Sam ignores it. He tells Andy he understands if he doesn't believe him and turns to leave. Surprising when Andy stops him. "Come by the house tomorrow," he says. "We'll talk." Sam returns to his new home, but as he steps inside, everything glitches again. His parents are waiting for him, frustrated that he was gone all day. He tries to explain, but they grow more suspicious of his strange behavior. That night, lying in bed, Sam looks at Logan, the dog, and wonders if this is all just a dream. Part of him wants to wake up in his real home, but another part of him wants more time with his dad. And honestly, having a dog isn't so bad either. Logan really is a sweetie. The next morning, Sam and Andy look over the spot where the treehouse will be built. As they plan, Sam mentions that it took him and his dad 2 days to build it before, but they never finished the roof. When Andy asks why, Sam hesitates, unwilling to share the real reason. Before the conversation can continue, Jenny arrives and questions Andy about what he's doing. Andy tells her he read about situations like this in comics. She scoffs, but he explains that if Sam is telling the truth, they're helping him get home. And if he's wrong, at least they're giving a lonely kid something to hold on to. Hearing this, Jenny softens and agrees to help. To start their day, they visit their favorite restaurant for pancakes, because what's better than pancakes? And honestly, who doesn't love pancakes? As the treehouse slowly comes together, Sam and his parents find themselves enjoying the time they spend together, almost as if they were a real family. Sam and Andy visit the comic book store, but as they step outside, they run into Tommy. "Where have you been?" Tommy asks. Sam ignores him and keeps walking, not wanting to waste time. The family returns to working on the treehouse, focused on getting it done. As they work, Sam asks Jenny why they never had kids. She smiles and tells him that they always plan to someday. Sam hesitates for a moment before saying, "In my world, you're the best mom." He realizes he never told his real mom that enough. Jenny looks touched, but before she can say anything, the world around Sam starts to flicker. He hears his real mother's voice. She's begging him to wake up. Then everything goes dark. When Sam opens his eyes, Andy and Jenny are kneeling beside him, looking worried. He tells them about the glitches and Mason's theory that if he stays too long, he might be trapped in this world forever. Realizing time is running out, they decide to start work early the next morning. The following day, as Sam steps outside, the weather report warns of a heavy storm coming that night. He knows this storm feels familiar. The treehouse is almost finished when dark clouds gather overhead. As the wind picks up, Sam remembers the night his own treehouse collapsed. "This is just like before," he says nervously. Andy gives him a reassuring nod. "But this time, we'll be ready." Just then, Sam glitches again. His mother's voice calls out, faint but urgent. Determined to finish, they work as quickly as they can. Just before the storm hits, they complete the last touches, and everyone carves their initials onto the ladder, marking the moment before it's too late. Sam looks at the finished treehouse and sighs. "I'm sorry for leaving an empty treehouse in your yard," he says softly. Jenny smiles. "Actually, this whole parenting thing has been kind of fun," she admits. She glances at Andy and hints, "Maybe it's something we should think about for real." Rain begins to fall, and Sam climbs inside the treehouse, trying to make it feel as familiar as possible. He arranges the space to match the one from his world, hoping it will help him find his way back. Outside, Mason and Andy wait. Sam steps down and gives them both a tight hug. He doesn't want to say goodbye, but he knows he has to. Just as he turns to leave, he stops and looks at Andy. "Please, don't go." Andy frowns. "Sam?" Taking a deep breath, Sam finally admits the truth. "My dad, he's dead, in my world." Andy looks at him, shocked. He doesn't ask how, but suddenly everything makes sense. Why Sam was so stunned when he first saw him. Why he clung to every moment they spent together. I miss him, Sam says, his voice breaking. I don't want to leave. Andy's expression softens. He places a reassuring hand on Sam's shoulder. Your mom is still there, Sam. If she's anything like she is here, then she loves you more than anything. Her heart would break without you. Sam's vision flickers again. He feels himself glitching, fading. He knows he doesn't have much time left. Stay with me, he pleads. Andy doesn't hesitate. He sits beside Sam and wraps an arm around him, holding him close. I love you, kid, Andy says. I love you too, Dad, Sam whispers. Outside, lightning strikes the treehouse. Sam wakes up in a hospital bed, his mother sitting beside him. Seeing her, he breathes a sigh of relief. I saw Dad, he tells her. He helped me find my way back. Tears fill her eyes as she squeezes his hand. I love you, Sam. I love you too, Mom. Sometime later, Sam visits the remains of the treehouse. As he runs his fingers over the ladder, he spots something. His initials along with Andy's and Jenny's. His heart aches, but he smiles. Walking back to his mom, he asks, can we rebuild it? Then after a pause, and maybe get a dog. And just like that, Sam and his mother begin a new chapter. Their bond is stronger than ever, and though he still misses his father, he got the chance to say goodbye. What do you think? Could someone really glitch into another dimension? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this, check out our other videos and playlists. And if you love our content, make sure to subscribe. I'll be back soon with another great movie recap. Until then, take care, and thanks for watching.